Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of To the Edge. With me this week are two guests. In addition to the return of Mike Messier, we missed having you on.
I'm glad to be back, Roland. Thank you very much. Glad to be here.
Yep. Mike's been involved with another film and we'll be discussing that in a future episode. But for now, we are talking about the web series Red Circles. And with me today is the producer Seth Chitwood, who is also the creator.
Hi.
And Rosemary Pacheco.
Yes, glad to be here.
All right, so for those who are not in the know, what can you tell us about Red Circles?
Well, we're in our third season right now. Or actually, we just finished our third season. We're about to do our fourth and final season in October. And we just won 3 LA Web Festival Awards. Best Actress, Best Producing, and Best Directing. And we won 5 last year, so we've won 8 total, which has been really very cool.
Wow.
And our lead actress, Corey Aruda, was the actress who won, which we were very excited about. But yeah, we're finishing our final season. Everybody's coming back, and we're really excited to see how it goes.
All right, and Rosemary, what can you tell me about your role in the series?
I am coming in for the first time as Detective Gretchen Lewis.
She's a newbie. She's the newbie.
I'm a newbie, yes, I'm a newbie. And it's interesting because he has put us through police training.
Oh.
And it's intense. And anyway, it's very intense, and I loved it. And I want to do it again. We had state troopers from Lowell, Mass. Charlie Alejandro and Mel, her husband, Alejandro, state troopers. They put us through some tactical training, gun handling, lawyer, good cop, bad cop, and interrogation techniques. And I was like, okay, 9 hours almost of that on a Saturday, and I think you had another one as well.
Yeah, well, I'm very much about character development, so I really wanted an actor. I always say this all the time. I want actors that, if they're on the spectrum of acting, like here's the actor and here's themselves, I always want it to be here's the actor, here's their character, not cloose to home.
Right.
So one thing for the detectives were like, obviously none of them have been on a crime scene before, none of them have held guns usually, none of them have done police training, so I brought in 2 amazing people, Charlie and Mel, and we've done 3 days of it so far for both the Family Problems, the Red Circles cast. And they pretty much just go through this basic training of like what it's like to be in a crime scene. We bring in actresses to play dead bodies, and they do the CSI kind of work, and they do a full day, pretty much 9 hours of kind of learning like the craft of what it takes to be a detective, and then they go back and they apply it to that character, and it's been very great getting in the head of their characters and understanding what a detective has to go through.
That's a great idea, what you're doing. And did anything trigger or inspire that idea for that application of process for your actors as a director?
I think method acting is like what a lot of people will do. I guess.
Which is was that Stanislavski
I
method?
think so, yeah.
Marlon Brando and On the Waterfront, that type of thing, yeah.
I'll be honest, like I don't know the lingo of acting.
Sure.
I'm like, yeah, it's that. Okay, I'll take your word for it.
Okay, well, you're touching on some good stuff, which I'm very curious about.
I think, it's definitely not as, it's not the Daniel Day-Lewis method.
Okay.
It's not that extreme, but
Sure.
it's definitely that kind of method, kind of reworking stuff. I mean, we were bringing the lawyers to meet the DA of Rhode Island, hopefully, to kind of analyze that part of it. I know the medical examiner, we've been really trying to get her to go to a morgue and to talk to medical examiners. I really think that understanding your character and understanding your profession in the field is what will get a great performance.
I just wanted to interject. He also does character exercises, which I had to miss, unfortunately, last weekend, but he brings people together and actually gives them, puzzles and things to solve, and, you get into groups and you do your work. He's really serious about it.
Like solving crimes?
Yeah, I mean, this last month and a half, we've been doing a lot of pre-production work with both the Family Problems and Red Circles cast. Family Problems is the other web series that I do. And the last week, we had an opportunity for them to kind of do these like riddles, to kind of clues to take them from one to another. I had based it off of, there was I tell a lot of the actors to watch like Law and Order SVU episodes, or CSI episodes, or the new show Hannibal, which is also very good about that kind of behind-the-scenes criminal profiling.
Yeah.
But one of the episodes from SUV, I believe it was called Scavenger, was the detectives were kind of sent from one location to another to track down bodies, and kind of using that along with this training that was given to officers in Vermont. It was a school that gave them kind of clues And it was for like a 10-mile radius. It was like, now go to this street and you'll find this clue, and if you can solve this riddle, then you can go to the next clue. And we kind of just did it around the house, and it really worked. I mean, it really just gets you in that mind frame of trying to like put
hard.
pieces together, and they were struggling to get it through, but they got through it, and it's been great.
Have you ever heard of the series Dragnet?
I've heard of it. No, I've never seen it.
Came out in the 50s
Yeah,
and 60s.
I know it well.
I wasn't born.
And Jack Webb, he wanted to become a cop. He was the producer and creator of the show, but he didn't qualify. He failed to meet the height requirements.
Oh.
But he produced a radio series and a TV series about investigators and the procedurals and how they go through it. And what he used to do to prepare for training for the show was he used to ride along in police cruises with officers and would interview them and observe the process to ensure the realism of the show.
I think they still air. Dragnet was a great show. I mean, I was a little kid, but Dragnet is. I think I'm not sure, but I think they do air that in
Nick at Night or something like that.
yeah, like
yes.
syndicated or
TV
something. Yeah, old whatever that station is that shows old shows.
Oh, it's not Me TV. It's
TV Land?
RTV.
Yeah, RTV, something like that. But it was a great show.
Seth, I'm really fascinated by your process, and if it's okay, Roland,
Yeah,
can,
go
we tell
ahead.
them, can we tell them where they can see Seth's visions, his programming?
Well, absolutely. We want everyone in the show who's watching To the Edge to see Red Circles. So I have here a website, but you can do the honors and present the website.
You can go to www.redcircles.ws. And you can also go to www.angelwoodpictures.com. for all your projects.
AngelwoodPictures.com.
Yes, that's my
Okay.
production company.
Great. And where do you reside? Are you a native New Englander? Or are you
I'm from Barrington, Rhode Island. I
Okay.
was like born, like my first like few years of life was in Pawtucket, but Barrington I've lived the majority of my life so far.
Okay,
Yeah.
great. And do you have any inspirations or people that inspired you to get into entertainment?
Well, both of my parents were television critics. We're Providence Journal reporters now. My dad is now at AARP, but they used to write a column called On Tonight. So we would get all the like television screeners and the pilots and some of them that would make it to air, some of them that wouldn't. And I just would like pretty much grab them and watch them, and then they would have always that kind of insight for the television formula. And I would always like bounce ideas off my dad and be like, "Do you think this idea is good?" And he would always say he had like the "so what" kind of factor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, why would you want to watch this? Like, I'd be like, "Oh, I have this really great idea about a family who like lives a life and they're struggling to put up with this." And my
So
dad would be
what?
like, "So what? Like, why would people want to watch that?"
Right. That's
I'd
my
be interested.
Wow.
to be honest.
that was my impersonation of your dad, by the way.
Yeah,
So
it was
what?
pretty good. He
Yeah.
would be like, "So what? Why would you want to do that?" Everyone gets so bored, and so I was
Yeah.
always writing, and in Red Circles especially, like I'd always writing with that kind of formula that you are always intriguing the audience, then you leave them hanging with one big kind of last-minute cliffhanger, which happens on all the episodes.
Nice.
Yeah, so that was definitely where I got my inspiration was from the
From home.
television world, from home, from my
Yeah.
parents, and
Beautiful thing.
yeah.
Are they excited for you? Are they proud of you, what you're doing?
I hope they're proud. No, I think they are very
I think
proud.
they are. Yeah.
I'd be.
My dad actually was at the LA Web Festival with me too. He had a documentary web series called Hungry in the West End.
Cool.
So my mom and my dad were there, and that was really exciting to be with them, and they were very happy. I think that I hope them, like I have really put a lot of my work, like I think 90% of my life is just dedicated to these series, and
It is.
and I
don't know
I
how
still
he
don't know
does it
how
all.
I do 3 web series. Everyone's always asking like, how do you do that? Well, it just happens. But
Right.
but I'm hoping, someone actually just asked me earlier, they were saying, are you trying to do this to make a pilot that will go on network television? And I said that I don't have like the intentions of like Red Circles being the next NBC show.
Sure.
But hopefully someone watching Red Circle, someone watching Family Problems and going, wow, that Chitwood kid, he knows what he's doing. Let's maybe he can save NBC and give us
Right.
a new drama or something.
Definitely.
So
I hope to see that in the future.
yeah, I hope so too. Yeah.
I think it's
Watch.
I
great.
do too.
And what you're doing, Seth, is you're just enabling yourself, you're empowering yourself to put the ball in your own hands and just shoot for the sky or shoot for the moon or something.
Yeah.
Shoot for something. But
Thank
it's
you.
great. I think it's awesome.
Thanks.
Yeah.
What inspired you to create Red Circles?
Well, I had this like really weird nightmare dream about a woman. Well, the pilot of the series starts with this woman in the shower covered in someone else's blood with her clothes on. And I kept having this like really weird nightmare. And I have this thing where I have this like journal next to my bed, and if I wake up and have any kind of ideas, I quickly write it down and then go back to sleep. And I had just keep having this like very strange dream about this woman who was in this house, and she had this blood on her, and these detectives were there, and it was just kept reoccurring. And I just thought, I want to. First of all, don't want to dream this anymore because it's very creepy.
Yeah.
So let me write it out. So I started writing just the dream, and then it kind of transformed, and it became this kind of story, this 3-season, 4-season long adventure.
Any particular reason why the 4th season will be the last?
We kind of reached a point in the story where I want to end it. It's, if I could, I would maybe write a 5th season, but I kind of like where it's going, and I kind of want to end it there. Mm-hmm. There's like a bunch of reasons. I definitely want to move on from this project. I think 4 seasons as far as I can take the story.
It's fine.
And I also, I work with a great cast of actors, some people that have been doing it from the very beginning, like Corey Aruda. She's been, from day one, she's been in the cast. Eva Davenport is another one, Paul Kandarian. And I had to go to the cast and say, like, if we did a 5th season, would you do it? And so that was kind of, I think a lot of the actors have been doing it for so long that they're kind of like ready to move on to other projects. And so I think it was kind of a mutual agreement between all of us to be the final season, which is okay with me. I'm very happy to end it. I have a great other series, Family Problems, right now it's very successful right now, and I want to kind of end Red Circles and pay more attention to this, and yeah.
Definitely have 2 series to focus on instead of 3.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're developing another web series possibly.
So you're busy no matter what.
Very busy, yeah.
Well, he has World's Worst Director, too,
Yeah,
which is
not as stressful. We film an episode a day. We do about 12 days of filming, and so I'm not.
very funny.
It's like a little thing to a side. I don't call it a side project. It's as great as all my other projects. But when World's Worst Director isn't like the most stressful thing as like. My cast is now going to be like, really? He doesn't really care about our series. No.
It's like feeding children. You have to-
Yeah, World's Worst Director is like here as far as the stress level, where like Red Circles and Family Problems is like here. So.
Do you not to get into the specific details, of course, but are you able to generate pay-per-watch money type of thing from this to help the production costs, or are you financing this through your own pockets?
Yeah,
or?
it's out of my own pocket.
Yeah,
Yes.
I know the deal.
I mean, I'm not trying to make money. Again, it's a lot of the resume building. I've been very lucky with the connections that I have. I have a cast that's doing it unpaid.
Sure.
They'll have connections with locations. And then we'll go to our fans and we'll do Indiegogo and stuff like that, and Kickstarter. And we have a lot of support. A lot of people donate a lot to help us make our series successful.
So when someone wants to view your material, your shows, are they able to do that for free?
For free. Yep.
Okay, so that's even better.
Yeah.
So plug that website one more time so we get
It's
you some more hits.
www.redcircles.ws, and you can also go on to the production website, which is www.angelwoodpictures.com.
Great.
It's perfect. I haven't seen all the episodes yet, but I intend to watch them, and who knows, by the time this airs, I might have already seen the whole show.
Yeah.
I'll be anticipating the end.
Well, a lot of people, and when I was at the LA Web Fest, I sat on 3 different panels, and this was the biggest discussion: was are web series more successful if they come out weekly, or if people binge watching the show? And we find that, especially with Family Problems and with Red Circles as well, is a lot of people will not be watching. We have a strong maybe 100 that will watch week to week, and then all of a sudden we'll shoot up at different times the episode numbers, and a lot of people will be like, yeah, I watched 1 and 2, I'm waiting for 4 or 5 to come out and then I'll watch it. So
I never liked that.
I know, well, a lot of people,
Yeah.
it's different,
Interesting.
both sides, but the reason I'm bringing it up is a lot of people will say like they'll watch the first episode. Like I have a good friend that just joined the cast, and she said, okay, I'll watch the first episode. It was like 8 p.m. at night, and then I'll go to sleep. And she watched the first one, she's like, oh my God, what happens to the second one? And the second one will happen, oh my God, what happens to the third?
That's
and then
how I
she'll
am.
be up till 4 in the morning watching the whole season. So a lot of people will start watching the first episode and they'll be like, what the? And then they'll watch the whole thing.
That's great.
So yeah.
If you can hook them into
and
watching
it's-
episode after
That's great,
episode.
yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like primetime television when you go on Netflix and you have to watch these hour-long programs. I mean, we have playlists that will have the whole season. I think the first season of Family Problems is under 2 hours. The first season of Red Circles is just under 2 hours. So it's not like you're committed to a full day of watching 22 hours
Right.
of this season. You're really only watching 12 episodes in about 2 hours. So.
How long is each episode?
With the exception of Family Problems, Red Circles and World's Worst Director runs about 15 to 18 minutes, and Family Problems runs just about 12. It's long form. Usually, some web series are usually about 7 to 8 minutes, but I've been more on that television level, that kind of long form. series. So we've been happy with. Well, originally I thought the reason we did Family Problems down to 12 minutes was we had a little bit of a complaint that the episodes are too long.
Okay.
So Red Circles, that for 18 minutes I can't watch an 18-minute show. But I said, okay, for Family Problems we'll just do 12 minutes. And now all the comments are, oh, it's too short. I wish it was longer. So
Can't win.
I can't win.
I believe in half-hour shows. It's a half hour or an hour, no and ifs or buts.
Yeah,
So
so-
people probably think my show is too long.
I
when it's
think it's good.
online.
It's fine. I do hear that kind of thing that if that people will only watch the first 3 or 4 minutes of a YouTube show, that they won't go the full length. But it really depends. If you're into what you're watching and you want the story to go along, then you'll watch the whole thing, hopefully.
For the future, maybe there's a point in your career where people will have an interest in your backlog of work, and you'll be able to release all these episodes on a DVD or Blu-ray or whatever the medium
Yeah.
is at that point. And
Though
you know,
I honestly think that in like 5 or 6 years from now, the DVD market's going to go down the drain.
yeah,
I think
you seem to
it's
be
all
on
going
the
to be
edge of-
online. I think it's
I
ever.
think so too.
to the
Yeah.
edge. So just as a kind of a point of fact, where do you think things are going with that, with Blu-ray and DVD? Do you think there's anything else coming on along?
I just think everything's going to be online. I
Okay.
think that we're now seeing Netflix is getting in with the web series. That was another huge discussion at the LA Web Festival. Was now the studios are getting involved in web series with Arrested Development, with House of Cards, with that new show Hemlock Grove. Hemlock
Wow,
Grove.
that's interesting.
So those are 3, and there's already like I heard a rumor that there's like 12 or 13 web series that through Netflix that are being talked about as possibly coming out in the next year.
Wow.
So that's like not scary to hear, but and they're also binge watching. They're releasing all of them.
Right.
They're not just week to week. They're just here's our 18 episodes or 12 episodes or whatever. So I just definitely think that the world is going to get in on this web series. And you know, the LA Web Festival said once the corporations and once the advertising people figure out how they can make money off of web series, like getting their products into stuff, then it's just gonna
Blow up.
Blow up. I think
yeah.
so. That's what I
So-
feel like is going to happen.
But I'll tell you one thing that DVD and Blu-ray still have over everything being online: director's commentary.
That's true.
But you know, someone had said to me about Red Circles. He said, you know, it would be great because we have a lot of special moments in Red Circles. Where a great example is there's an episode of Red Circles. I think it's episode 6, where 3 of the actors that were in the scene they couldn't come at the same time. So I filmed this like 4-minute scene 3 different days with the 3 different actors, and I cut it in such a way that if you watch the scene, you have no idea that
Wow.
none of the 3 were in the same room. To a point that I was putting like my assistant director's like shoulder in one of the shots, so it looked like it
Wow.
was over. Like I showed that to my father, and he watched the scene, and I was like, "What do you think of it?" He said, "Oh, I really like it." I'm like, none of the actors were in the same room at the same time. So he had said to me, he's like, it would just be great if you like recorded and did some sort of commentary on these episodes and said like, look at this, look at that, and then just had a separate playlist that was like watch
Right.
episode 6 with the commentary or without.
That's what they need.
So I think that that's another direction. I mean, there are a lot. Everyone says like, oh, DVDs and Blu-rays have special features. I'm like, well, YouTube can. Everyone puts special features, bloopers online.
Sure.
No, I'm not
special
saying that as
releases.
a demerit.
I know, I'm just saying,
If
yeah.
they added it, that would be better.
Probably, yeah, I agree.
We'll take Dad's advice.
I know. I have a lot to do, but that's definitely on the burner to try and do that.
Now, where did you meet Rosemary, and how did you get her involved?
How did we meet?
You did Women of Harry, and I was in it.
Yeah. Well, she emailed me. I'll get a lot of emails from actors, and I really liked her email because she's like, "Hi, I'm Rosemary, and I'm just starting acting, and I really want to blah blah blah." And I was like, "Oh, okay." So I just did this other short called Women of Harry, which featured 45 women.
Wow.
I really wanted to do an ensemble piece, also just to do it. I had to do it for a class at Rhode Island College, but I also really wanted to. I thought it was a perfect way to. I always say that it's a perfect way to do casting in your own if you do a short that features like 45 people saying 1 or 2 lines, because you get to meet all these people and work with them, and then you can use them for other stuff. So I ended up meeting like 10 really talented women that I had never known before, and Rosemary was one of them.
And I have an interesting part.
You were a lesbian.
I am the very manly lesbian,
Oh.
Paul Bunyan-esque lesbian, in Women of Harry. It's a
I got
funny
so
little
nervous
film.
because she showed up in her costume. And
I
so it was
did.
like this manly person, and I was like, this is because I'd seen her photos online and her
Right,
headshot,
right,
and I
right.
was like, this is Rosemary.
And then I was there as is, and
Yeah.
he said, "Where's Rosemary?"
Yeah, she's in my room doing makeup, and I'm
yeah.
like, who are you? And she's like, I'm Rosemary. I'm like, no, you're not.
Talking about your butch.
Yeah, because I had a fedora on and a big
Yeah, her
jacket.
hair was
and it
tucked in. It was short hair. I was
Glasses,
so confused. I was like, this is Rosemary. Because sometimes that'll happen. Not more in shooting, but when I have auditions,
fun.
Sounds
you
like
know, as
fun.
far as like
Oh,
the
yeah.
film, and someone will show you this beautiful headshot,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
they'll come and they'll look like nothing like
Well,
that.
that was 20 years ago.
And
I
I'm-
still look the same. No, you don't.
Like, so it's like always so nerve-wracking when that happens.
Yeah.
But then I play another character in the film as well,
Yeah.
and where I'm very feminine and
Some of the
you know,
women had
normal,
played
normal.
more than
Let's
one
put
role,
that- put
and
that
so I
way.
was like, "Oh, you're Rosemary." Okay,
Yeah.
I feel much better now.
That's
so,
great.
yeah, but
It's
and
a fun little film to do.
and then you did World's Worst Director briefly.
I
and,
did do a little stint on World's Worst Director as Ramona, who
Can't reveal.
that's,
We can't reveal who she is.
We
yet.
can't.
That's
We
a
can't.
reveal.
We can't.
Spoiler there,
Sorry.
but she comes in and she kind of screws
hope I
with
come
some of the
back.
characters. But yeah, I hope she comes back. And then Red Circles, I emailed her and I said, I have this role that I think you'd be really great for. And
Yeah,
so
I'm happy to be a part of it. I love
having
playing
her
a
on
cop.
set, so,
Nice.
yeah, she's great.
fun.
She did really well with the police training. They really liked
Yeah.
her. Her
Sounds
demeanor was very
sensational,
like,
yeah.
yeah, her cop demeanor.
So if Mike and I ever want to do a film about cops, we can consult you guys.
Yeah, why not?
Good.
Yeah,
Charlie
thanks
and
so
Mel,
much.
they'd be happy to. They're great. They're great. They're the best teachers.
That's good.
We actually just, I'm sorry to interrupt you.
No, go ahead.
This past Sunday, we did a fundraiser for Angelwood Pictures where we invited people from the public to take the training with Charlie and Mel. It was for $99 and half of it went to Angelwood Pictures budget for Red Circles or Family Problems. And it was great. We had about 12 people.
That's good.
And it was just, it was great. I mean, and we only did, wow, I can't speak. We not only offered it to actors, but we also offered it to writers. We had a writer that was there, and she said it was just so beneficial for her because it really opened her mind up to the lingo and how detectives work. And so we hope to do it again in the end of May. There's stuff on Angelwood Pictures about that. So I just tell everyone it was such a beneficial. You can put it on your resume, and it's just such a great
I had
course.
a few directors ask me about it too. You know, they sent me in because I was promoting the
Sure.
training, and they had emailed me and said, "Hey, I can't do that day. Are they going to have another one?" So,
Yeah, so
it'll be
hopefully we'll get
good.
more
It'll be
people.
good because the directors are like, "Oh, I like to get some of that cop training." You know, you've got cop dramas coming out all over New England.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, you got IPV up in Boston, and you've got I don't know. There's another one in Pawtucket. So there's just things going on, and I think people are really going to be interested in that training.
Well, Charlie, she said that people, like, she was on a set once and she had the look of a police officer and she got more background work because of it. I mean, she is a police officer, so she had that down. But she said that, if you know what you're doing, if you know the walk, if you know how to hold the gun, people on sets will notice that and they'll either call you back or they'll keep you longer or they'll put you in the front and they'll make you a featured police officer. Because there are some extras that show up and say, "Oh, you're a police officer." And like, "Oh, what do I do with
Right.
this gun?" And then people who have this training or just know that background are just like, "Boom, I know how to hold the gun." Well, that's not how you hold the gun, but you hold it like this. But they know what they're doing.
I think it's great. I mean, what you're doing is you're bringing these skill sets to your actors that otherwise they may not be able to find that skill set without being a registered police officer, which obviously is, if they're an actor, they're not going to be a police officer for the most part. So that's terrific. That's really cool.
What can you tell us about World's Worst Director?
Well, it's based on my life. I was tired of dealing with all these stories. After each filming day, auditions, emails with people, I was just always a nervous, stressed out wreck from just having to channel what I had to put up with. And I had all these really interesting stories, and I was like, it would be really great to do a series. So originally, I wasn't going to play Moses. I don't see myself as an actor. But the last minute, I decided I'd jump in and play myself. And we have a really great cast. Mary Farah plays Katie. We just cast Erica Derrickson, who plays my rival, Penny. Kia Holiday plays Cherry. Mary Polino plays Sharon. And Paul Kandarian plays Mason. And then there's a huge cast, it's 35 people. But it's pretty much just this director, that's known as the world's worst director, trying to put on a web series and deal with his anger problems and his insane actors and his deluded crew. And so it's a fun. It was first time writing comedy too, which was kind of a break. I'd be writing all this horrible killing, murder, Red Circles, and then I get to I get to write World's Worst Director now. So and that was really nice to do too.
That's very cool. And they can see that on the same website.
Yeah, you can also go to worldsworstdirector.com.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Do you design your own websites at this point? Or do you
No,
have
I have a wonderful person who does websites. Mary Ferreira does it. She's absolutely amazing. We have the Red Circles one, the Angelwood Pictures, and the World's Worst Director one, and she just does a magnificent job.
Nice.
Yeah, good friend of mine, and I'm happy that she's doing it. And love you.
Because that's the whole art to itself.
Yeah.
Is web design. Yeah, that's a challenge right there.
I know, I have no idea. I said if she knock on wood, was decapitated or something, I wouldn't know what to do. I'd be like, how do I get on the website? So.
Well, first you'd have to hide the head, but that's another.
That's true. I don't know why I said decapitated. Because I'm writing something right now about decapitation.
Oh, really?
For one of the series. I won't tell you what series that is. That's a little spoiler coming up, but.
Sounds like a lot of fun.
Well,
Sounds like a lot of
I'm gonna
fun.
figure that out.
And Family Problems, is that serious or a comedy?
It's a drama. It's about a family that buries a body in the woods. We don't know who the murderer is. We don't even know if the murder occurred within the family. But the cool thing about the show, the narrative about it, is it takes place in 3 different kind of time periods: 1995, 2012, 2044, and it jumps between these 3.
2044.
Yeah.
How do you dress up 2044?
Well, I went in saying I didn't want there to be robots all over the place or any future things. So it was still this is the time 2044, but it's still kind of real to 2012. I mean, a lot of the detectives will be using iPads and stuff like that. So I definitely wanted the screens in there. But it's about Molly, who's played by Teresa Chason, and it's her daughter who has been killed and buried, Jennifer. And you kind of see in the past, 1995, who Jennifer was. 2012, you see Molly and her family burying the body and then trying to cope with this. And then 2044, they found the body. They found Jennifer's body, and Molly, at 80 years old, is being interrogated for that crime. And she's kind of giving the narrative about what happened. So it's a really great story. We're about 2 episodes left of the season. Big twist ending about to come up. I can't wait for people to see it. Everyone will be like, what? And and then season 2 starts in January.
Oh, it's good.
Yeah.
For the 1995 scenes, I hope people saved all their old clothes.
I know, yeah.
Really?
We've been doing a little bit of that, yeah. One of the cars we drive is a 95 as well, so we've been
That's
very
good.
great. Yeah.
Nice.
All right. So overall, what can you tell us about producing 3 series at the same time? How is that for you?
I don't know. I do get a little stressed out. The little thing in my house, which will always end in abrupt anger, if I'm ever stressed out and someone ever says to me, well, you're all doing 3 seasons, that's on you. You can't stress out about that. You picked that. I'll be like, I'm gonna kill you. But I'm able to manage it and have a fantastic cast that helps me out if I need it. But I just get it done. I can't tell you how it happens, but it happens, and just hopefully it'll lead to something better down the line.
This is a good note to end out on.
Okay.
So thank you for watching To the Edge, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks.